Hey, Glenn Dumontel here with the Recovery 180 podcast. And we are fortunate and blessed at times to be able to have a professional who works in that field of addiction and counseling and recovery. And so, Caleb Shearer, welcome on board. You got experience in trauma and addiction counseling and ADHD. You're just a wealth of knowledge. We're excited to have you here. Welcome.
Oh, thanks, Glenn. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So, give us a little bit of a background on who Caleb is, where you live, where you came from, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Let's get
yeah.
rolling that way.
So yeah, good question. So I came to this field pretty naturally. I grew up, my dad's an alcoholic, my older sister's an alcoholic. I grew up around alcoholism and
Mm,
I I first learned about recovery when I was about 12. My sister went to treatment and she had a family day and she invited me and I I got a conception that there's a way that you can drink and do drugs and that's wrong. That's not okay. And I just
hmm
swore it would never happen to me. Um, but growing up with uncertainty and um, explosiveness around me,
hmm
I found when I finally did, it wasn't even that late. By the time I was 15, I was drinking every weekend. I found the relief in drinking that nothing else could do.
hmm
I remember having my first drink and I was like, I've arrived. Right? This is it. I don't know why people don't do this all the time. And I thought I'd found the solution. So I chased that solution for a while.
So, was
Um,
that a masking solution to what was going on at home with the trauma and all of that, or?
yeah, that's right. It was just it didn't feel like a safe place.
Hmm hmm
So yeah. So and I didn't know that I felt bad. I didn't know that I was afraid. I just
Mm,
knew that I thought everybody felt the way that I felt.
right, right.
So I had no
And so you thought that since you found a means to deal with that, that you were doing okay. You were on a good road.
yeah, that I'd be yeah, exactly. Well, it was a
Hmm
solution. Like it really was. I wasn't afraid of people anymore. I could be myself.
Right.
Yeah, it really was the solution. But I moved back and forth a lot, so I was always meeting new people. I didn't have really a consistent or stable home. I went from relative to relative, and so I was always in process of rebuilding myself. And
Mm-hmm.
drugs and alcohol were a really easy way to do that. So you go to a new city or a new school, and you got a built-in group of friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So did that the fragmented kind of broken home atmosphere then that really was your trigger for going down that road then?
yeah, I would say that's right. That's right. Some early abuse outside from people outside of the family, and then
Mm-hmm.
just no stability.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even realize that stability was a thing. And
Right.
it just came off to me as boring. And
So you look to those people that you could come into contact with that you could feel kind of part of a group, right? Was
that's,
that the direction that you were going or?
yeah, that's right. That's
Mm.
right. Yeah,
A-
yeah.
And so was that mainly high school or what period of time was that for you?
Yeah, it started. I sort of found the solution when I was 14 or 15. It was that summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I chased that solution as far as I could go. So I didn't get that far with it. I made it until I was about 23.
Mm-hmm.
And that at that point I was at that place where it wasn't doing it for me anymore, but I also couldn't do it without it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've heard it called the jumping off place, where I just had to decide whether I wanted to walk through the agony and the trauma and the fear, ultimately the fear, and
Mm-hmm.
have some source of some and experience it, let myself experience it, or whether I could just keep going and chasing this diluted road into oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
But when I
How,
was yeah,
how bad did it get for you?
it was bad. Yeah, I couldn't go a day without drinking, and I would use anything in front of me. I was homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody trusted me. It got pretty bad.
Mm.
I mean,
And
I
you're
could.
and you were around 23 at that time?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
that's right. That's right.
And so what changed that? What was your turning point or what got your attention or you you probably went that way for a while, but something must have come along and kind of got your attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had a transformative experience, had a transformational experience where I got a glimpse for a moment that of the fact I believe that there's something way bigger than me
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
that loves me,
Hmm.
and that I wasn't serving it. I was, and that if I could switch the focus from myself to others,
Hmm.
that would be my way out of this.
Hmm.
So I had that experience, and then I took a few steps afterwards, but I've just kept moving in that direction. It was like the world was just completely dark and terrifying, and in the farthest distance I saw a little speck of light, and that's what
Hmm.
that experience was. And I've just been trying to walk towards that light ever since. And
Hmm.
that's why I got involved in this career. That's why I've tried to do everything
Hmm. Hmm.
to
So what did you see happening to yourself then, from that point on, change wise, attitude wise, personality wise? Did you start to feel a change was taking place in you?
um yeah, for sure. So I think the main thing was that I stopped trying to talk about myself, and I tried to stop being understood. I
Hmm.
stopped making my main life effort. I switched it from I just wanted to for people to understand me
Hmm.
to trying to understand other people.
Hmm.
So I think maybe my ego was diminished, which is what needed to happen.
Yeah. So as you grew then, so that was at what age then where you felt you
That was
so,
23.
so that was like a faith-based spiritual sort of thing for you that you was that a God thing where you felt that God was out there and was in control, or is that what you're referring to, or?
What it felt like was that God was always there.
Hmm.
I don't typically I'm just using God as a placeholder, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
this great spirit was always there, and I had mainly through deception, mainly through like a denial of the truth, I had
Hmm.
cut myself off from him, and there was really no way back except through his grace and forgiveness.
Mm. So how did that feel when you all of a sudden realized that you didn't need to carry all that weight, that God or a higher power could be there to help you with that? How relieving did that feel for you?
Yeah, it felt like a tiny crack in a door opened and I could breathe again.
Mm-hmm.
It was, but I knew there was a lot of work. So I knew I was escaping, like I was escaping bondage, I was escaping slavery,
Hmm.
but it's conditional. It was conditional, and that it was up to me to try and the knowing I got in that moment was that as long as I followed my higher power, this conception or this sense that I had, that everything would be okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And but I haven't been, I haven't been perfect at that.
Hmm.
So
Lots of us haven't been.
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
human, right? We're human. So
Well, it,
how did that process go then? Like, from that point to where you decide that you want to start giving back and become a counselor, like,
yeah,
there's a lot of work and a lot of steps in between there, I'm sure.
yeah, that's right. So I the first thing I needed to do was understand what happened because
Hmm.
I didn't understand. I didn't know what to call what had happened, and or what I'd experienced that shook me enough that I've never drank since that
Hmm. Hmm.
experience. It
Yep.
made sense. So I wanted to understand what it was. So I just it seems ridiculous in hindsight that I needed to do this, but I basically just packed a bag. I was working in a kitchen and I packed a bag and I traveled and I wanted to go to well, I did. I went to all the holy sites all around the world and I wanted to talk to the people to get them to explain to me what the heck is going on here, like
Hmm.
how.
Hmm.
So I talked to Baha'is and I talked to Christians and I worked at temples and I did all of these I don't know what to call them, but I tried all of these different things in an attempt to know who it is or who he is or
Hmm.
how to
Hmm.
conceptualize him and how to work with him in my life. and I did that. I traveled and went to school for about 10 years and I did religious studies. I did philosophy. I really tried to understand what the heck is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've never bought into the idea that we're just here to make money and gain status,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that I don't believe that perception is reality. I believe that reality is reality, and that we have a duty to it. So, yeah, the message I got was just, what are you good at? And if the message was that if I do what I'm good at, that's how, and I like, that's how I'm serving
Mm-hmm.
this creative force.
Mm-hmm.
So I first of all, I opened a foster home because what's more godly than taking care of foster kids? So
Exactly. Yeah.
we did that for, with my wife, we did that for about 10 years. And I went back to school. I got another degree in social work, and then I got a master's in social work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sort of peripherally involved in 12-step programs. I really believe in in their approach. Like, I think it works.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that it doesn't resonate for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I started to think about what would it be I started to think about what an alternative to a 12-step recovery program would be. And I studied that during my master's, and then I eventually opened a trauma-based treatment center in
Mm-hmm.
Vancouver, or in the Lower Mainland. Um, got my master's. Yeah, yeah. And then I've been working in the field ever since. That was about 12 years ago,
Mm.
10 years ago, maybe.
So did you feel, do you think when you look back on that now that there was that little voice inside you that was saying, I want to give back? That, that you maybe didn't have anybody there for you, but you're wanting to give back, to those that are out there, maybe less fortunate like yourself.
Yeah, and one thing I realized in this was that there were people there for me.
Hmm.
Like there were lots of people there for me. It wasn't the traditional thing,
Right.
but I had, I had people looking out for me. I had adults that cared about me and told me that I was important. And so that was something that switched too, is I actually have a lot of gratitude for all of the
Hmm.
things that allowed me to come here. But that was basically the idea. You're right. It's like I wanted to be one of those people. I know what a difference a person who cares about you
Hmm.
can. So
So what's it like being going through being a trauma counselor or an addiction counselor when you've been down that road yourself? Like, how does that equip you, or does that, can that be a trigger at some time for you where all of a sudden you're working with somebody and it's reflecting something back to where when you were younger?
I'd say probably in the beginning, but now I know I'm pretty good now at separating them.
Hmm.
So, but I mean, I think it kind of gives me an advantage as a counselor because I understand these experiences, and while I don't talk about them myself,
Yeah.
people can tell that I know what I'm talking about. Like, people
Hmm.
can tell that I've been through this myself.
Hmm. Hmm. So you're connected to some martial arts and stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's been my
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about that and how you're using that for this form of counseling?
Yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specifically, I've seen just tremendous changes in people's lives by
Hmm.
participating in Jiu-Jitsu. So I created a trauma-based approach to Jiu-Jitsu that was designed to get people sort of applying the lessons of Jiu-Jitsu in their real life. So not fighting, not actually fighting, but
Hmm.
we trained and we fought as well. But the goal always was to use the messages, the real lessons of Jiu-Jitsu in our life.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I started a program called Guard Recovery that trained jujitsu in a safe environment and included meditation and a mental health aspect.
Hmm.
So the goal was, when you're touching people like that, men don't really touch. And when you're in jujitsu, you're touching people all the time. And there's something about that that builds a bond.
Hmm.
So, people, it's like it's a cliche almost in the jujitsu world, but you make amazing friends.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So
So
yeah, oh,
yeah.
go
So what? No, just what else? I'm sure you got lots of stuff going on and lots of ideas of things, but what all, like you've kind of moved on, you said, from trauma and addiction counseling to ADHD counseling.
I'd say, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, how has that transpired, or are you still overlapping a little bit with everything, or how are you operating
Yeah,
now?
it's still overlapping. Yeah, it's still overlapping. I'm kind of in two different fields right now, and
Mm-hmm.
um, the trauma and addiction field, it's really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
really takes a toll on a person. So about 3, 4 months ago, I found myself just incredibly burnt out in it, and I knew I had to do something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did. I've taken a bunch of training um, and therapeutic modalities for ADHD. So
Well, there's a lot of us around.
yeah,
I'm one of
exactly.
them.
There it is.
So how did you choose that field to go into? Like why
Which one?
ADHD? Like why did you choose that over other options? Why did
Oh,
that one jump out at you?
I just interviewed for a job
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about ADHD and I realized how it is what a driving factor it has been in my own life. I've never, but I'm the perfect poster boy for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I can help people with this. And
Yeah.
I did their program as well. So the program the ADHD program that I'm offering to others now, I actually did it myself.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So lots of adults. I mean, we look to children for those kind of symptoms, but there's lots of adults that have gone through life with ADHD and have never really had that help, or maybe never thought that there was something out there like what you're offering.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the thing with ADHD, it's not that different than addiction, and I think there's a huge overlap in it because the thing that happens is people who suffer from it, they get moralized.
Hmm.
So instead of saying, okay, this person is sick or has some sort of brain disorder or whatever words you want to use, we say, okay, this person's lazy, this person's just not a good person, this person
Hmm.
doesn't do what they say. So all of these things that happen to people with ADHD, they end up, especially as adults, coming in very similar in a very similar state to somebody in addiction, where the like the bottom line being like we just can't control our bodies.
Hmm. Hmm.
We want our bodies to be doing one thing, but they don't.
Hmm.
And as long as we continue to use our willpower to make our bodies do what we want it to do, it doesn't work because our willpower just can't overcome directly
Hmm.
these problems. So in a way that's similar to the steps, there's a way to go around it where you don't have to force it.
Hmm. So are you sort of regenerated? Is it a new excitement now that you're working in that field? Are you feeling a little bit less pressure and seeing some sort of
Yeah,
sunshine on that side of the road?
yeah, no, definitely things are good. Things are definitely looking up. Um,
Hmm.
I I worked in nonprofits and on the downtown east side for years and years, and everybody has to give it up eventually. Like,
Hmm.
so I felt like if I was finally at that stage of my life where I can maybe stop beating myself up every day.
Just a question for you in regards to that, like for counselors that are working in trauma and addiction counseling, uh, do you feel that there's a concern that some people have been involved in it for too long that they maybe are, it's all hard to get back out, or do you feel that there's some concerns in that regard? Because there's probably not enough to go around, right? And so, and I mean, you got to really feel that you're called to be doing that because it's a tough field to be in.
Called is right. I think that's right.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to have boundaries if you're doing the work.
Hmm.
So, so not to be available 24/7, to do more than just recovery things.
Hmm.
It's important, yeah, because we are vulnerable and the systems that work with addiction are they're difficult and damaging in and of themselves.
Hmm.
So it,
So there was one word that jumped out at me at the beginning of this. You talked about your choice of alcohol or drugs being a solution. And I
yeah,
thought a solution to me is a word that's kind of final,
yeah,
but it was actually more of a temporary. But I
Well,
thought that was an interesting word that you used, and I was just wondering if you wanted to expand on that a little bit, because obviously that's a word that you feel, describes kind of what the road that you went down.
yeah, I think what happens is that alcoholics or addicts, when they get that first drink, say, that they experience a much bigger sense of relief than the
Hmm.
average person.
Yeah.
So all of the like I said for myself, all of the fear falls away. So and then we can actually act the way that we want to act and be the way that we want to be. But unfortunately, um, drugs and alcohol create tolerance,
Hmm.
and there's no way that it can be anything but a short-term solution. So, and that I think that's exactly the trap of addiction, that people are trapped feeling like their alcohol is a solution, but it actually becomes the problem really
Hmm.
quickly. And
Hmm.
whatever original problem was there remains buried and
Yeah.
unseen.
Yeah. Well, and then the alcohol becomes another problem,
That's right.
and then
Yeah,
another problem. Yeah.
that's
And
right.
I'm sure that most people that go into addiction are not planning to become an addict. They're going into it as step one, and maybe, dabbling in something, and then all of a sudden it becomes a problem. Like, right? It's like, I'm sure nobody has ever that you've worked with has ever said, well, my plan was to become a drug addict or an alcoholic right at the beginning.
No, no. We always think we can beat the odds. I mean, I
Yeah.
had all the knowledge I needed to not drink.
Hmm.
I had all the things I needed, but I still did. I still chose it, and I drank to the point where I couldn't stop of my
Hmm.
own free will. I tried for years.
So people that are suffering with addiction, obviously, I'm speculating, but have a voice inside them that says, I want to get out of this. And it's just hard to, where do I reach out to or whatever. And what would your suggestions be for those that are maybe watching that might be in addiction right now, or family members that have family members that are in addiction? What would you say to them as to what the first step would be to move past their addiction into recovery?
I would say that maybe it's impossible to recover from addiction alone.
Hmm.
It can't happen. So an integral part of recovery is other people. So I would say reach out to somebody who has done what you want to do. So somebody that used to drink like you did, but now doesn't. And if you don't know one of those people, then there's a few places you can find a person like that.
Mm-hmm.
AA is the most obvious, but there are recovery churches. There are all kinds of places you can go to meet people who can mentor you on the path to your own recovery.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
without that mentorship and that community, I don't think it's possible.
hmm. Yeah, no, those are good. That's good advice. So as we kind of wind down here a little bit, Caleb, what do you see as the future for you? Like, do you have some dreams and passions and ideas and directions that you want to go with what you're doing with your counseling, or even as an individual? Like, what's burning down inside you?
Yeah, I know I should write a book at some point, and but I don't know beyond that. I'm kind of trying to decide if I want to try to start a business, which doesn't really appeal, or um, just continue counseling. And I think for now I'm just going to be counseling. I like it. It's not as stressful as working in groups and facilitating addiction groups
Yeah,
and
yeah.
working in treatment centers and stuff. Oof, stressful.
So what do you do behind the scenes to help yourself wind down? Like, I know you do martial arts and stuff like that, but are you a sports guy, or
Oh, like what, sports watching? No, not really.
or yeah, or participating, or what do you do because you're dealing with some pretty heavy stuff. Like, so what do you do to take care of yourself away from the job?
Yeah, so I have somebody that I can go to with all of it. I have a therapist that I've had for 20 years, so
Mm,
I save him. He saves me. And I talk to people. I walk my dog a lot. Try and remember to be kind to myself. I
hmm.
think at the end of the day, we all have this little voice inside of us that just loves us,
Mm,
and we just shut it off. So we I don't know what other people say, but I shut it down because it's not worthy. I feel unworthy or it's wrong. But
Hmm.
I think meditating on that and cultivating that inner voice and allowing it to speak beautiful, good things about me. Um, that's kind of what I'm doing now. So I've turned my meditations into cultivating that kindness and
Hmm.
compassion and
Well, you have the best counselor as could be as in a dog. I mean, they're the best listeners around.
sure,
They
for
seem to
sure.
understand and they'll look deep into your eyes and they know how to be present and
Yeah,
how to be a good listener and not give advice. And so I think that's good therapy for a lot of people that have dogs. Or I'm not. That's not like I'm advertising for dogs here, but I know
no,
people
no,
that have dogs have found that they've been very therapeutic for them. And so,
yeah, I totally agree. And just as social supports, I made some friends when I first got sober and through AA, and we built our lives up kind of at the same time, and I rely on them a lot. So
mm-hmm.
I have sober friends I can count on and talk to.
Good, good. So as we finalize this podcast episode, like any wise words of wisdom or advice or suggestions to those that might be watching from you, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean,
That's a pretty loaded question, I know, but
I have a few. But I guess what I'd say is that if you're listening to this, you've got some interest in addiction and some interest in recovery.
mhm.
And if you're listening to this, and you're in that place and you can't decide what to do, you want to go forward, or maybe you don't. I just really, really, really encourage you to reach out to somebody who has been through it, because the way we keep it is by giving it away. So
Mhm.
reach out to somebody through the Alcoholics Anonymous or through any kind of connections and let them know what's going on. It could save your life and set you up.
Mhm. Oh, good words. So if somebody was to wanted to talk to you or meet with you, do you have a business name or how would they go
I'm
about?
I'm on Psychology Today, Caleb Shearer.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah, I'm a registered social worker, so most benefits will cover me.
so they could just Google your name and it'll pop up under counseling there.
It should be, especially if you put Caleb Shearer Psychology Today.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good.
Yeah,
Well, it's been I've learned a lot today, and I
thanks
know
for
we
having
who
me.
are ADHDers got to
Oh,
stick together,
right?
because
We need a group.
there's only so many squirrels out there for us to chase. So
The great thing about ADHD is it creates superpowers too. So you get
that
really good at the stuff that you're good at.
that's
So
right. And I know some of my friends that we've got together, and we have a lot of really great ideas. We just never get any of them done, but everybody has a good
absolutely,
laugh about that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, bud. I
So
really,
thanks, yeah, thanks a lot, Caleb, and I hope that a lot of people will get a hold of you and be able to use your services and stuff. But thank you very much for taking time for our podcast, and I look forward to having a coffee with you face to face one day.
me too. Thanks, bud.
All right,
Appreciate
well, thanks, Caleb, for being part of the Recovery 180 podcast, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
it. Right on.